Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 861 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Russia continues its strikes against Ukrainian cities. For example, yesterday the Russians attacked Dnipro, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Explosions ran out in the city, a shopping center was damaged. The Air Force later clarified that the Russians had attacked with 3 Iskander-K surface-to-surface cruise missiles, 4 HAP-59 missiles and 5 Shahed unmanned aerial vehicles. Ukrainian air defense units had shot down 11 aerial targets, 1 Iskander-K cruise missile, 4 HAP-59 aircraft-launched missiles, 5 Shahed drones. At least 6 people have been killed and 53 injured, with 4 of them in a critical condition. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy expressed his condolences to families and friends of the victims. Quote, "This Russian terror can only be stopped by 2 things, modern air defense systems and the long range of our weapons. The world can protect lives, and this requires determination from leaders, determination that can and must make safety from terror the norm again," unquote, Zelenskyy concluded. The Russians hit residential areas of Kharkiv with at least 3 aerial bombs. Private residential houses, apartment buildings, cars, a post office, a service station, and a gym were damaged. At least 14 people were wounded, including a 2-week-old baby. Russian forces also hit areas near the city of Poltava. The debris damaged a school and a kindergarten in the Poltava district. At least 2 people were killed and 3 wounded in the result of the strike. Overnight, Russian drones tried to attack Kyiv but were downed by the air defense. The White House has announced the allocation of a new military aid package for Ukraine worth $150 million, reports Suspilne. The Pentagon specified that the new package would include missiles for Hawk air defense systems, ammunition for HIMARS, 155 and 105 mm artillery rounds, mortar rounds, TOW, Javelin and AT-4 systems, small arms ammunition and grenades, demolition equipment and munitions, tactical vehicles to tow and haul equipment, tactical air navigation systems and aircraft support equipment, spare parts, maintenance and other field and auxiliary equipment. Later, the US Department of Defense has announced the procurement of interceptors for the Patriot and NASAMS air defense systems for Ukraine worth $2.2 billion within the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. The Pentagon noted that Biden's administration plans to accelerate the supply of these weapons by changing the order of future deliveries to Ukraine under the Foreign Military Sales Program. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy thanked US President Joe Biden, both parties in Congress, and the entire American people for the military aid packages. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, and leave a glowing review in the app where you are listening to this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. This really helps more people to find out about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy believes that Donald Trump should reveal his strategy for a rapid end to the war with Russia right now, assuming he has one, reports European Pravda. In an interview with Bloomberg Television, Zelenskyy warned that any peace proposal must avoid violating Ukraine's sovereignty. Quote, "If there are risks to Ukrainian independence, if we lose statehood, we want to be ready for this, we want to know," unquote, stressed the president. He said he was potentially ready to meet with Trump to listen to his team's suggestions. Zelenskyy said that he wants to understand whether in November Ukraine will have the powerful support of the US or will be all alone. The Ukrainian leader denied that the Ukrainian and Russian troops have reached a stalemate on the battlefield. He observed that in terms of personnel, the Ukrainian military is in stronger position than it was a few months ago, and that a new operation will require its brigades to be armed. While Zelenskyy praised the $61 billion aid package passed by the US Congress this year after a 6-month delay, he said military equipment is taking too long to reach the front lines. Earlier, Politico reported that Trump's team was seriously considering making a deal with the Kremlin to end the Russo-Ukrainian war, which would entail denying Ukraine and Georgia NATO membership and Ukraine making territorial concessions. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.